Hunting has always been a part of the human story. What began as a primal instinct for survival has grown into a powerful tool for conservation. I'm Rob Gerstner, bow hunter and wild sheep conservationist. For me, hunting isn't just a passion, it's a way of life rooted in tradition and purpose. I invite you to journey with me back to where it all began, uncovering the origins of my own hunting story and the lessons the wilderness has taught me along the way. To those devoid of imagination, a blank place on the map is a useless waste. To others, the most valuable part. At the edge of civilization exists a place few have heard of and hardly any have been. A place where life is harder. Time moves a little slower. And nights are darker. Crossing this threshold is a step back in time. History abounds and the culture rich. I'm Rob Gerstner, and as a global hunter, I travel the world in search of these blank places. And every destination has shown me that the void on the map is in reality full of amazing things. My pursuits take me to the farthest reaches of the earth in search of some of the most challenging high mountain species. And as if the rugged terrain and unpredictable weather weren't enough, I've upped the ante with a free-range, fair chase, archery-only standard. And this is just the beginning, driven by a passion for wildlife conservation and a fascination with history. These hunts take me on an adventure few could ever imagine. For me, hunting isn't a sport or hobby. It's a calling to something greater, an invitation to climb higher and go farther, to venture beyond the edge of civilization. Hunting is more than a skill. It's a deep bond between humanity and the natural world. From the dawn of our species, hunting has been central to survival. Fossil records reveal humanity's progression from hunting small game to large, as evolving tools and technologies made us more efficient predators. For early humans, hunting was a necessity, a raw and unforgiving equation. Kill and eat or starve and die. Survival wasn't just a skill, it was a way of thinking, of adapting, of knowing the land and the animals that shared it. This knowledge, hard-won and sacred, became a legacy passed down through the generations. Hunting was life itself. But as humanity evolved, so too did our relationship with hunting. The rise of agriculture and domestication provided new means of sustenance, yet hunting endured. It was no longer merely about survival. It became ritual, tradition, and a testament to our connection with the wild. For millennia, it remained a cornerstone of human existence. In the modern world, hunting has taken on a new and controversial meaning. For many in privileged societies, the idea of hunting is distant, even repugnant, a relic of the past seen as unnecessary or cruel. Yet in many corners of the world, hunting remains as vital today as it was for our ancestors. It feeds families, sustains cultures, and for those with fewer economic resources, it is still a matter of survival. But hunting isn't only about survival. For many like myself, hunting is something more, a bridge to a deeper understanding of life and the natural world. It is a tradition that has endured industrialization and globalization, a practice that carries echoes of our ancestors' struggles and triumphs. Today, hunting is no longer just about survival in the physical sense. It's about preserving the balance of ecosystems, honoring the lives we take, and maintaining the tradition that ties us to the wild places we still need, even when we don't realize it. Growing up in the rolling hills of Western New York, the outdoors weren't just a part of my life, they were my life. For as long as I can remember, the outdoors shaped my life in ways I didn't fully appreciate at the time. Hunting and fishing weren't just activities. They were family traditions, passed down like heirlooms from my dad and grandfather. I was only 7 when I first started tagging along with them, learning to see the world through their eyes and trying to absorb the wisdom they shared about the land and its animals. Before my brother and I were old enough to carry a gun, we joined my dad for opening day of shotgun deer season. Those early mornings in the woods remain some of the fondest memories of my childhood. They didn't just spark my love for the outdoors, they lit a fire in me that hasn't dimmed since. By 15, I harvested my first deer with a bow, a moment that's etched into my mind like a snapshot in time. I still remember that moment vividly, the adrenaline, the pride, the connection of something far bigger than myself. From that day on, I knew I was hooked, and I've been chasing that connection, that sense of purpose ever since. As my passion for hunting grew, I began venturing beyond the hills of New York, chasing big game across the country and into Canada. My rifle quickly became my weapon of choice, reliable, efficient, and well-suited for the wide-open landscape I now explored. But in 2007, while on a caribou hunt in the rugged wilderness of British Columbia, something changed. After spotting a caribou from 2 miles away, we spent hours closing the distance, stalking to within 30 yards. It was an incredible moment, but as I stood there with my rifle in hand, something in me stirred. It was a call to something deeper, to reconnect with where my journey began. Back then, it wasn't about the distance of the shot or the size of the trophy. It was about closeness, the challenge, the patience. I realized I missed that feeling, and I knew I had to find my way back to it. 3 years later, in 2010, I returned to Canada, this time with my bow, for my first wild sheep hunt. The Northwest Territories called to me like no other place could. The thought of a classic backpack hunt, deep in the middle of nowhere, high in the mountain country, promised the kind of adventure I craved. But this hunt wasn't just about the landscape. It was about the challenge. Getting within archery range of a mature wild sheep was more than a pursuit. It was the ultimate test of everything I'd learned as a hunter. And so, my quest for wild sheep began. I didn't know it at the time, but it would become the beginning of an obsession that has shaped me ever since. Fresh off the success of a thrilling Dall sheep hunt in Northwest Territories, my passion for mountain hunting continued to grow. In January of 2011, I traveled to the arid landscape of Sonora, Mexico, where I was fortunate to harvest a majestic desert bighorn. Later that year, in November, my adventure took me to the rugged wilderness of Canmore, Alberta, where I connected with a Rocky Mountain bighorn. With 3 sheep species behind me, I began to see the possibility of achieving something much bigger, a pursuit that would push me to new heights as a bow hunter, an all-archery FNAWS of North American sheep. In 2012, with my bow in hand and full of anticipation, I set out for the rugged mountains of northern British Columbia. If successful, this would be my final hunt in the quest to complete my all-archery FNAWS of North American wild sheep. We're with Barry Tompkins and Big 9 Outfitters. He's got 1,500 square miles. The area we're going in is pretty heavy rock, steep, incline, real challenge, but that's what we want. We picked a harder spot because there's some bigger rams up there, he thinks, and that's what we want. Looking forward to getting out and pulling the bow back and trying to throw one right in the middle of a sheep. Found in the remote mountains of northern British Columbia and southern Yukon, stone sheep thrive in some of the most challenging and inaccessible landscapes on the continent. Their exceptional eyesight and wariness make them experts at evading predators, including hunters. This, combined with the steep, unforgiving terrain and unpredictable weather of their habitat, make hunting stone sheep one of the most challenging pursuits in North America. Reaching bow range requires not only endurance and patience, but also a willingness to push both physical and mental limits. Out here, the balance of nature is raw and unforgiving, and we are no longer at the top of the food chain. Bears and wolves roam this country, taking what they will as they please.
I have never seen that before. Looks like it's been killed by wolves or...
Probably the wolves, right?
Yeah, right in the wintertime, I'd say. I would probably most likely right after the rut.
So he was rutted up, tired, got down in here, wolves got on him and basically took him down. They might have run him a bit, but...
Yeah, that's the scenario I see coming down off of here.
Yeah.
Wolves seen him and he just tried to probably fight him off and instead of running away.
Yep.
Had nowhere to go.
That's the sad part of it. They're actually not hunting because they're hungry. They're hunting because they just do it for fun. It's unfortunate, but at least we found him. So how old do you figure it is?
Looks like he was just getting to his 10th year here. So this would have been probably in December or late in the season, just before like he was gonna be his 10th year. He's a really nice ram actually. He's probably about 38 and a little bit, and 14.5-inch bases. He'd go close to 160 for sure.
Definitely a shooter with a bow.
Yeah, he's a beauty.
It's amazing, you just walked right up on him.
Yeah, it would have been a beautiful round to take with a bow. Not often do you ever find this. This is once in a lifetime.
This deadhead is a stark reminder that sheep hunting is a test of endurance, patience, and grit. One that often ends without a harvest. Hours spent behind the glass scouring vast landscapes give way to miles that wear you down. The swirling mountain winds are rarely on your side, carrying your scent to places you don't want it, and turning what looks like a promising stalk into a botched opportunity. Every decision matters. One wrong move, one careless step, and the sheep vanish as if they were never there. It's a relentless pursuit that demands everything you have and then asks for more. But for those who chase it, the challenge is the reward. Last night, we spotted these rams back in this bowl back here. And so we figured we'd let them sit because it's too late anyway and the winds are bad. We just hiked up this hill this morning, at the top of this mountain. Kelly just crested over and we've got about 35 rams in there. It's unbelievable. There's at least a couple shooters in there, a couple mature legal rams. One that comes right up past the nose a few inches. So we're gonna let him glass a bit more and get a real good look at him and make our way up around the back side of this bowl. The winds are coming perfect. And then once we get over there, we'll have to figure out what to do. But this could be it right here. This could be the day. We've been working hard and climbing and hiking and just exhausted. So let's see what happens. But we got some serious sheep over the hill. It takes us most of the day to get into position. We move slowly, staying low and out of sight, careful not to make a sound. We finally get eyes on a mature ram. Everything lines up perfectly. The ram is calm, the shot is there, and I'm ready. But in the mountains, nothing is ever guaranteed. A shift in the wind changes everything. The ram catches our scent and quickly disappears over the ridge. When we catch up, we find him clinging to a steep, rocky face where getting any closer is out of the question. If I had a rifle in my hands, this hunt would already be over. From this distance, a well-placed shot would seal the deal. But that's the challenge and the beauty of bow hunting. It demands more. It forces you to get close, stay quiet, and remain patient. Moments like these, where success slips away in an instant, are what make this pursuit so demanding and ultimately so rewarding. The thrill of the chase isn't in how easy it is, It's in how hard you're willing to work for it. Day 14 brings another incredible opportunity. We spot a mature ram bedded downhill in a position that gives me a real chance to close the distance and get within bow range. I work my way in, closing the gap to 60 yards. All I need now is for the ram to stand. Anticipating his next move, I come to full draw and give a soft bleat. On cue, he rises. From the camera's perspective, it looks like a done deal. But from where I'm kneeling at full draw, I can only see the top of his shoulder and head. I hold, waiting for a better shot opportunity. The ram takes several steps, stops briefly, then walks calmly out of range without ever exposing his vitals. And just like that, this hunt is over. But far from unsuccessful. A challenge like this forces you to dig deep, uncovering parts of yourself you wouldn't find any other way. This hunt taught me a lot about the mountains and took me back to the roots of my hunting career, where I first learned the value of patience, perseverance, and respect for the chase from my dad and my grandpa. Most importantly, it confirmed the mantra I've carried with me ever since: never give up. Oh yeah, last year was the penultimate example of hunting. Things just happen and go a certain way and you can't do anything about it. But it sure was fun. So I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back. 13 more days, 14 plus today, and we'll try not to stomp our boots as much on the mountainside as we did last year. 100 miles in 13 days can wear a guy out. It's 2013, and I'm back in the mountains of British Columbia, bow in hand and eager for another shot at a stone sheep. Okay, so it's the second morning of the hunt, and we just hiked up, and Kelly spotted these ram up here. They're right back up in that bowl, and one of them he thinks is pretty good size. So we're gonna get a closer look at him with a spotting scope and then make a plan from there. Kelly spots a mature shooter ram, and we know it's time to move. The terrain between us is steep and unforgiving, but we close the distance with eagerness, doing our best to outsmart this old king of the mountain. I think I got him pretty good, yeah. It went in. Yeah. That was a good shot. After 16 days of relentless effort over 2 separate trips, perseverance has finally paid off. I now sit behind an incredible stone sheep, a hard-earned trophy that marks the completion of my all-archery FNAWS of North American wild sheep. This is unbelievable moment. We're struggling for words, both Kelly and I, for probably different reasons, but I figure one of the reasons blends in, which is a stone sheep charging at us. Never on film probably before.
Never seen before, ever.
I mean, that was just, and when I hit him, he came charging right at all three of us, and I don't mean like sorta, it was dead on, right down towards
hind
us.
legs only, just right in the air, like he was gonna butt heads.
Well, for a minute I was thinking you and I had to go from hunters to linebackers, because like he was gonna take us all out. Like,
oh, I wasn't sticking around. I was the first one gone. And
so, but this guy, he's a warrior. I mean, this is an old animal. This is a monarch as far as the sheep habitat's concerned. I mean,
11 and a half I got him at.
11 and a half.
Old boy, just an old boy.
Yeah.
You can see his cores just beat the heck, just about falling off here. He wouldn't have lasted this year in the rut.
Yeah.
He might have butted a couple heads, but I think they would have just popped right off. They're just hanging there. That's unbelievable.
But this was his time, and that's what I just love about hunting, is being able to harvest a really old, mature animal, no matter what species we're going after. And I've been bow hunting for 31 years, and this is for me the greatest day of hunting of my life. And I just was overwhelmed with, like, I can't believe I've done it. Last year was just a grind, 13 days and 100 miles, and so second day out here, and he gave us an opportunity, which up here is unreal. To be 26 yards from a stone sheep way up in these barren mountains is just, it doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Congratulations. I can't believe how old this boy is. He's a nice one to take, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of story behind him.
Sitting behind this incredible stone sheep is more than the culmination of 16 days on the mountain. It's the continuation of a legacy. My love for hunting started as a kid, following in the footsteps of my dad and grandpa, learning not just the skills of the hunt, but the patience, respect, and responsibility that come with it. My dad's influence carried me through this journey, reminding me of the lessons he passed down: to work hard, to never give up, and to always respect the animals and wild places we pursue. This hunt is also a reminder of why sustainable use conservation matters so much. Hunters have always played a vital role in protecting wild sheep and their habitat, ensuring that these incredible animals will thrive for generations to come. It's a give and take relationship, one that requires effort, stewardship, and commitment to the future. As I look at this ram, I know this story isn't just mine. It belongs to my family, to the mountains, and to the ongoing tradition of preserving the wild sheep we cherish so deeply.